All right, welcome back to the Elias Macko Show. It's 10:52. We go now to Ida Yudin, who's Vice President of the Center for Israel and Jewish Affairs. She's on the line and returns to the program. Ida, welcome back to the show.
Thank you, and welcome back.
Yeah, thanks so much. It's great to talk to you. Now, listen, I missed a month, basically, and I really tried to disconnect from the news over the last month. But some things, whether you go away for a month, you come back, some stories are still there. And so I want to get to everything that's happening involving a city council, a certain councillor, some flips, and some anti-Israel comments. And there's also further to that story. There's some groups calling out the mayor this morning, in fact. So I'm going to get your take on that. But first things first, let's get to the nutshell, to the heart of this matter. So Valerie Plante shuffled her executive committee last week. Some people are noticing that Alex Norris was demoted as part of that shuffle. He has been called out for some anti-Israel, pro-BDS movements posts in the past and support for it in the past. And I would just like to know your thoughts on this and please get me up to speed here, because there's also been some issues with the agglomeration council and him imploring citizens to go there and go up against the mayor of Hampstead, Jeremy Levi. I'm kind of sort of confused, Ida, to start off on everything that's been going on. Maybe you could sort of give me some clarity here.
So look, you packed a lot into that question.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. There's so much to get to.
You missed a lot in a month, but I hope it was a good month, and you enjoyed every minute with your new baby. That's a very special time. When you look at everything you just threw at me, the one thing that really stood out when it comes to what happened at City Council, what happened at the agglomeration, is a sort of escalation. And so, looking in the context in what we're living in, where we see the rise of anti-Semitism, we see the chants in the street, we see what's going on, and we saw, a lot of questions targeting the mayor of Hampstead at City Council. Norris stepped in, escalated that, invited them to ask the same questions at the agglomeration council, escalated that. When those questions were done, and I think anyone who watched the footage of that session saw Mr. Norris enjoying very much the series of questions being lobbed at Mayor Levy that really had nothing to do with municipal affairs. He then suggested to the group that they should, each question that came up, he suggested that they should file a complaint against the mayor. And so, there's a behavior here and a pattern of escalating and participaing in the targeting of a Jewish elected official. And that's not a behavior that's, in line with someone in the position of leader.
And would you qualify it as harassment, as anti-Semitism? How would you qualify it, the lengths that he went to there?
So look, if I look at it from Mayor Plante's perspective, clearly this is a behavior that's distracting. We're getting up to 18 months before the next election, and this isn't the kind of behavior that makes someone an asset for a political party. It makes someone a distraction. And however you qualify the behavior, and we did qualify it as allowing repeated anti-Semitic attacks against a Jewish politician. That being said, it's clear that we're not the only ones who saw that he is not a constructive element in the party. And she cleaned house, and she put forward a slate that will, I think, lead her up to the next election.
Do you view the decision made that he was removed as House Leader for Projet Montreal and their caucus? Was that enough in a demotion in your mind, or are the two things not related?
I mean, look, it's a step. It's an acknowledgement that the behavior is not in keeping with someone that you want in that position, and that's what we're saying. That wasn't behavior that I want to see, whether it's at City Council, agglomeration council. It's not what we look for in our electoral leadership. And there's a pattern here. We're still waiting for action on Bushra and I. another individual appointed by this administration who has demonstrated that she doesn't have what it takes, that she's not the right person for the role of anti-racism commissioner in Montreal. And I think if you look at all these pieces, the demotion is certainly a step, but more needs to be done to take concrete action against the anti-Semitism that is festering in our streets. More needs to be done to show that this kind of behavior and targeting of whether it's Jewish elected officials or the Jewish community or Jewish students in day schools who have to come to school the next day after their school was targeted by a shooting, more needs to be done to send a clear message that anti-Semitism and racism will not be tolerated in our city.
So let me ask you this. Now, are you aware, this just came out, and Trudy Mason had it in her newscast about 20 minutes ago. There's an open letter that's been released. I'm looking at some of the signatories: Marlene Jennings, Marvin Rotrand, Gemma Rayburn-Baines on this. A lot of signatories here from various cultural community groups, Filipino Family Services, Antigua Barbuda Association. I'm looking at all of these groups that have come together with a letter that is saying much of what you've just said on air. They are calling for the immediate firing of Bashar Ranai. They're calling on the mayor for a clear denunciation of anti-Semitism. They say she has not done so like other mayors across Canada. I guess. Now, are you aware of this letter that just came out?
I haven't actually seen the letter, but you and I had conversations a couple of months ago about Bashar Ranai, and we came out very clearly calling on the mayor. First, we actually called upon her to resign and see her own shortcomings. When that didn't happen, we called on the mayor to replace her, and we're still waiting. And like I said, clearly this message is resonating beyond just me. There are other people who feel strongly the same way. There are other people who are looking at what we've said, at the actions that have been taken, and saying it's not enough. Bashar Ranai has to go. Alex Norris being demoted is a great step, but what people want to see, what our community needs to see, and I think what all Montrealers deserve to see, is concrete steps taken to push back against anti-Semitism. And when you hear the chants of globalize the Intifada, which is basically calling for incitement of violence against Jews, it's not very comforting when you hear that in the streets. And we would like to see concrete steps taken to prevent that, and those who are responsible for those actions being held accountable.
I have to wrap up here, but the last question is, are you exhausted overall? I mean, now it's months and months. I mentioned I went away for a month. It's my first day back. Boom, you're on this program. You're booked to come on this show, and it's the same topic. Very, very similar topic to the last time we spoke. Are you exhausted?
I think we're all exhausted and deeply concerned about the rise of anti-Semitism, not just here, but everywhere. I was in Israel a few weeks ago to see for myself, to speak to people on the ground, and to really understand what happened. It's really the heartbreak and the butchery of what happened on October 7th is really beyond devastating. I haven't found the words yet to express myself. But we're all exhausted, and we would like this cycle of anti-Semitism to end. We would like to see hope at the end of the tunnel. We would like to see more being done to hold those accountable who are responsible for leveraging what happened and leveraging this faraway conflict to target Jews here and around the world with anti-Semitism.
Ida Yudin is Vice President of the Center for Israel and Jewish Affairs. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you.